undertaken in any way, shape, or form. We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. That's 50 crazy. Million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that? We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated. And we paused $1.7 billion in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization, which has not done its job and not done it properly. We also...
I think that Trump probably deserves his own Mount Rushmore. By the time that he's done and this term is up for this next 4 years, and you know what the worst part about the whole thing is this is nothing but common sense. Like, if you're not a corrupted individual, then this is an easy play to make. The problem was being able to overcome all of the agendas and all of the different things to where you can get to the point to where you can drain the swamp. And nobody should be against this. Nobody on the Democrat side, nobody on the Republican side. None of you guys should be against what we see happening right here and what's being described, because there's no reason for us to be sending $50 million over to Gaza for condoms, which in my opinion is really a form of money laundering, and somebody is getting paid on the flip end, and he said that they was using it for bombs. Diversity, equity, and inclusion training. I'm like Allen Iverson right here. You talking about practice? It's crazy.
We also blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma. You can imagine where that money went. These were the types of payments, and many others. I could stand here all day and tell you things that we found, and we have to find them quickly because we want the money to flow to proper places. But these were the payments and types of payments affected by the temporary freeze, and the American people strongly support these efforts. I talked about it during the campaign, and they voted for us in record numbers. Every single day, we're now putting America first and fighting to get the most out of every single tax dollar for our great citizens. We've gathered this afternoon to take another historic action. However, in a few moments, the Laken Riley Act will become the very first bill that I proudly sign into law as the 47th President of the United States.
A lot of people are not even familiar with Laken Riley. They spend a lot of time talking about all of these other people that sacrificed their lives that were actually criminals. A lot of people are not even familiar with Laken Riley, but we'll get there.
Laken was a brilliant and beautiful 22-year-old nursing student from Georgia, the best in her class. She was always the best. They would say, Laken, how do you do this? And what do you do? They were always asking her questions. She was respected by everybody, even her teachers. They respected her so much. From the time she was in first grade, Laken knew she wanted to spend her time caring for others. That's what she did. To her friends and classmates, she was a light of warmth and kindness in every single room. To her parents and family, she was everything in the world. They've had a miserable period of time. Just after 9 a.m. last February 22nd, Laken went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia, but she was just never returned. She never came back, did she, huh? Parents are here, sister, all of her relatives. While on her run, Laken was attacked, viciously assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who were set loose into our country by the last administration. We are deeply honored to be joined today by Laken's parents, Allison and John, and her sister, Lauren. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, to think that I remember an interview where Kamala Harris refused to even acknowledge Laken Riley's parents. And it was actually her first Fox News appearance during her campaign trail. And they basically practically had to force her to even apologize or to say anything to the parents. And I always think to myself, how can you sleep at night? Because it's not just Laken Riley, but that's the story that's in your face. How can you sleep at night knowing that there are people every single day that suffer at the hands of your administration, and you guys just continue to let it happen, continue to let it flow? If that's not one of the most evil, corrupt things that you can think of in your entire life, I don't know what is. And what makes matters worse is that you actually had people that was sitting there protesting for preventing themselves or against from permitting themselves from being able to use Planned Parenthood as a form of contraception and removing their children and getting rid of their unborn babies. But they don't even want to have a conversation about fully grown adults that were then murdered and taken advantage of people that was not supposed to be in this country in the first place. And then they're still protesting about us really getting rid of these criminals and these people. And it's mind-boggling how they've done a number. The Democratic plantation have done a number on these people, and it's insane to me.
So sad.
Very sad.
We were together right after that happened, and it's a tremendous tribute to your daughter, what's taking place today. That's all I can say, but it's so sad we have to be doing it at all. Thank you very much for being here. To Laken's family, we will keep Laken's memory alive in our hearts forever, everyone's hearts. With today's action, her name will also live forever in the laws of our country, and this is a very important law. This is something that has brought Democrats and Republicans together. That's not easy to do. Laken did it. Laken did it. America will never, ever forget Laken Hope Riley. The vicious criminal who murdered Precious Laken was an illegal alien member of the barbaric Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. He trespassed across our southern border in 2022 and was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the cruel policies of the last administration, instead of being deported, as he should have been, he was released into the United States.
Crazy.
As were millions of other people, many of them very dangerous people. And you see what we're doing, we're getting them the hell out of here. He was soon arrested again in New York City on charges of endangering a child, but because of New York City's deadly sanctuary policies, as we have in California and many other places, which we're going to end them, he was released again to reoffend.
He was released multiple times after criminally trespassing, getting arrested in New York City, and now all of a sudden somebody's daughter is taken from him, and we have no acknowledgement. Biden has never acknowledged this publicly, and only Kamala Harris was forced to because she was on an interview and she was on the spot in order to do so. It's crazy, bro.
Biden administration then provided this illegal alien criminal with a free taxpayer-funded flight from New York to Georgia, where he was arrested yet again, constantly, this time for stealing from a Walmart along with his gang member brother, who was a bad one. Only after being released a third time by the U.S. law enforcement did this cold-blooded criminal go out in that fateful morning hunting for women on whom to prey. That's what he did. He hunted. It was like a hunter. And we're going to show him who the hunter is. This horrific atrocity should never have been allowed to happen. And as president, I'm fighting every single day to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. We don't want this to happen. And under the law, thank you. Under the law I'm signing today, the Department of Homeland Security will be required to detain all illegal aliens who have been arrested for theft, burglary, larceny, shoplifting, assaulting a police officer, murder, or any crime that results in death or serious injury. In addition, for the first time ever, this act gives state governments the ability to sue the federal government for immediate injunctive relief if any future administration ever again refuses to enforce the immigration laws of the United States, like happened for 4 long years.
So now it forces the federal government to now take some ownership and responsibility, but to also for the local states and governments, for them to take responsibility. So everybody got to work in a concerted effort to ensure that people are safe in the United States of America from people that are not supposed to be here in the first place. Accountability. This is what accountability looks like. We're not even 10 days, right? We're not even 10 days into this administration, and now we got some accountability. Common sense.
And that was happening for 4 long years, frightful years. Amazing. You'd say, how can people do this? How can they allow this to happen? How can they allow criminals to pour into our country and then try and defend it? And they're still trying to defend it, but they can't. That's why I'm here instead of somebody else, actually. It's the biggest reason. I believe it's the single biggest reason. Inflation was horrible. Many things were horrible during that administration. When you look at what took place in Afghanistan, the way they got out, not that they...
This is, again, one of the greatest presidents, obviously the greatest president of our lifetime. Let me know what y'all think inside of the chat. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. We just got done doing a live stream, and it was absolutely awesome. Stock Club, and we went through and broke down the 8 things that we look for when we're looking to invest in a company. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.